Good day, Dr. Melinda and classmates. It's me again, Maria, and this is my final report for our Dev C206 course. This is the flow of my report. Points A to C were covered in our primary reference material for our course, and points D and E were from other sources. Let's begin. The authors Lustria et al. Stressed the importance of first impressions in radio interviews, believing that they are powerful enough to affect the whole interview. And according to them, there are two factors that influence it. There's how you look or your outward appearance and your nonverbal or body language. So I will go over these in more detail in the next slides, but I'd like to extend this quote from the University of Toronto, Mississauga. How we look, our appearance, is essential when we are representing our radio station. So, if ever we find ourselves in the position of conducting a radio interview, we must make the effort to look as professional and as credible as we can be. So, these are tips from the University of Toronto, Mississauga. These are tips on what to wear to broadcast interviews. And actually, these are meant for TV interviews where the viewers can actually see how you look and what you're wearing. But I'm still sharing these tips here because I believe they are still relevant to radio interviews. I will give you a few seconds to skim and understand these tips. I actually think they are self explanatory. So now we'll play a game. This is what I call my wear or avoid game. So I will share with you some photos of people wearing specific outfits, and you just say if it's something they should you should wear when you are conducting a radio interview, or it's something that you should avoid wearing during a radio interview. So this is a man wearing a business suit. Is this something you should wear or avoid when you are conducting a radio interview? I hope you said wear. Okay. Next, a woman wearing a tube top and leather pants. I hope you said avoid. Next, a woman wearing very light makeup and simple jewelry. I hope you said wear. And lastly, a man wearing a skin tight, neon printed one piece suit. I really hope you said avoid. Okay, so if we are conducting radio interviews, all we need to remember is we must dress like a professional. So that's for our outward appearance category. What about the nonverbal or verbal or body language? Okay, so these are some do's and don'ts from Lustre et al. And also my own inputs. First do's, we must smile and make eye contact with our interviewee. As the radio interviewers, it's our job to keep the mood light and engaging, and by smiling and making eye contact with them, that will help us achieve that goal. Second is we must make sure we put our arms in an open position. If we can rest them on our legs or on the table, that will be better. Okay. So for the don'ts, as radio interviewers, let us not look bored. Again, it is our job to set the tone and the mood of the interview. So if we look bored, most likely our interviewee will also be bored, and that will not make for a good listening experience for our audience. Second is we must not cross our arms. So according to Lustria et al., this is a defensive stance. But personally for me, when I see someone with crossed arms, it gives me this negative I don't care what you're saying vibe. And that is not something we want our interviewees to feel during the interview. So, okay. Next, we go on to the pre-interview chat. So, what is a pre-interview chat? From the name itself, this is a short conversation we have with our interviewees before the start of the actual interview. And according to Lustria et al., there are three objectives of a pre-interview chat. The first is to build rapport with the interviewees. The second is to share with our interviewees the flow or the structure of the interview. And the third is to help calm down our first time, usually nervous interviewees. Okay, how important is it to build a rapport with for your interview? Well, according to Way with Words, it is essential. This is a quite long paragraph from them. I will not read it, but I did set some parts of it in bold because I think these are the most important points in this whole paragraph. In a nutshell, what they are saying is if we do not build rapport with our interviewee, our interview will most likely fail, because this rapport is what makes interviews what they are meant to be: enduring, meaningful, effective, and human. And according to Lustria et al, there are three ways we can build rapport with our interviewee during the pre-interview chat. First, we give them a warm greeting, we give them a firm handshake, and we make eye contact. So again, we covered that earlier. So that's really how important eye contact is. Okay. Second, we need to inform our interviewees of our proposed structure or flow of the interview. Why is this important? Now, let's remember that radio interviews are unscripted. They are meant to be spontaneous conversations. But at the same time, we also don't want our interviewees to be caught off guard. And so, sharing with them this knowledge that Mr. or Mrs. Interviewee, this is my plan for this interview. This is how I want this to go. That knowledge can help ensure our interview will be smooth and less stress free for both the interviewee and you as the interviewer. Bottom line, it shows respect to the interviewee. You don't want them to be caught off guard or unaware of where you are leading them during the interview. The third, of course, again, it's our job, as I said earlier, to put our first time, usually nervous interviewees at ease. So it's our job to address their first time interviewees right. And there are many ways we can do this. According to Lustria et al, we can give them a compliment, we can share a funny joke. That's redundant. Jokes are supposed to be funny, or share a funny comment. And according to the Society of Behavioral Medicine, we can also encourage them to practice deep breathing, especially when they are hyperventilating because they are so scared, especially if it's their first time to go on air, and offer them a glass of water. Because nervousness, according to the Society of Behavioral Medicine, nervousness can make their mouth dry. And if their mouth is dry, it can make it more difficult for them to talk. So we have to make sure they are well hydrated. On rehearsing. Now, according to Lustria et al., there are two things that interviewers should never do. And this is one, we should never rehearse an interview, and two, never allow interviewees to read from scripts. Why are they so against rehearsing an interview? According to them, it removes the fun out of the experience. And they by giving this recommendation, they made this distinction between being prepared and being rehearsed. According to them, that's two different things. The pre-interview chat and all the steps under the planning the interview section of module 14, that should be enough preparation already to actually rehearse the interview from start to finish. It's a no-no for them. And the second, why should we not allow our interviewees to read from a script? Because again, I've said this, I will repeat, interviews are meant to be unscripted, spontaneous conversations. According to Fisher, scripts make interviews sound, well, scripted and robotic and boring. And people, our interviewees, can fall into the trap of reading them, which will make for very uninteresting um, interviews. Okay, on passion. So, according to Fisher, we must remember that the people who listen to the radio are doing other things. They may be driving to work, they may be picking up their kids from school, or doing some chores around the house. And so it's important that our voice as radio interviewers should sound passionate and lively and energetic if we want to catch and hold the attention of our audience. Otherwise, if we talk in a dull, monotone, I am so bored right now, I do not like what I'm doing kind of voice, that will definitely make our multitasking audience either stop listening to us, change stations, or just completely zone or tune us out. So we don't want that. Okay. Last is on being yourself. So again, I've said this. I'm sounding like a broken record, but it is worth repeating that a good radio interview should sound like a spontaneous conversation. This was emphasized by Lucia et al. And also echoed by Fisher. And if for those who are like wondering if it's your first time to conduct a radio interview and you're thinking, well, how should I talk? What language should I use? The recommendation of Fisher is to pretend like you're talking to a friend. Use that same language when you're talking to a friend. According to him, to Fisher, some people fall into the trap of pretending to be someone else when they are on air, and so they sound rehearsed, robotic, and the interview is stripped of any personality. And we don't want that. We want the interview to sound authentic and human, and should have that unique personality. So just pretend as if you're talking to a friend. Okay, I will end this on being yourself part with this quote from Larry King. So, to those of you who don't know him, Larry King was an American radio host and TV host who is an expert, like an icon in the field of radio and TV hosting. He has conducted over 50,000 interviews in his career. And the context of this quote is it's his first day he went on air, and he was very nervous because it's his lifelong dream to be on radio. And nothing came out for the first 2 minutes. He was that scared. And according to him, the general manager burst into the room. He kicked the door and said, "This is a communications business. Communicate." And these are his first words on air. "My name is Larry King. So for 2 minutes, you've been listening to a record go up and down and nothing came out. So please bear with me." He was so honest with his audience. And I think for those of us who are eyeing a career in broadcast journalism, it would serve us to remember these words from Larry King, that if we are honest, as long as we are staying true to ourselves, we can never go wrong. And okay. Yep. So that is actually the almost the end of my report. These are my sources for all the data I used in my report, and these are the sources for all the images. And for my discussion questions, which reminder for you is the most difficult to follow or execute in conducting radio interviews, and why? And second is, as a DevCom student and practitioner, which reminder is the most important for you to live by, and why? For your reference, I prepared this table below so you can easily refer. You don't need to play back to the earlier parts of the video. And I'd like to end with this. I said earlier that this is my final report for our course, and I just wanted to grab this opportunity to thank you all for watching my presentations and sharing your positive feedback. I really appreciate them. They mean a lot to me. So enjoy the rest of the semester and have a wonderful day.